Chris, we know you're from Philadelphia, the Northeast, St. Martha's Elementary School and Archbishop Ryan High School up there on Academy Road. I was wondering, were you a listener when we used to close schools in Philadelphia back in the day?
Every morning, my alarm would go off and KYW News Radio would come on, and I would listen for the school closing. So I've been with you for about 50 years now, and I still listen when I come back to the Philadelphia area. And I can't help it. My mother-in-law always has KYW on.
Well, we appreciate listeners, whether they're in the Northeast or in outer space like you are this morning. To the crew of Atlantis, from us, thanks very much. Congratulations. And, well, we understand we still have another minute or two. Carol?
Okay, so, Chris, we understand that you play with a rock and roll band called Max Q. So, since you're such a fan of KYW News Radio, can you sing us the jingle?
There are only a few drummers who can sing well in this world, and I am not one of them.
Well, maybe you can give a hint to somebody else on your crew up there and help them out with the old KYW jingle.
KYW News Radio 1060.
That was awesome.
That's not bad for a drummer or even a singer. We really appreciate that.
Question for you, Sandy. This shuttle brings the shuttle flight brings the shuttle program to an end. 30 years. A lot of young people have been inspired by the shuttle program. So now that, I guess, what's going forward? What will be the inspiration for young men and women who have an interest in this type of work?
Well, first I'd like to point them all to the International Space Station. You know, we've had people living here for about a little over 10 years now, and we're doing all kinds of science and interesting technology development up here, and you get to stay here for 6 months when you live here, and it's a completely different experience than a shuttle mission. So that's certainly something any young person should aim to do, because it's a really, really interesting experience. I lived here for 4.5 months. And further on, we're going to be moving out of low Earth orbit now. You know, the shuttles are designed to work in low Earth orbit. And so we're going to be building vehicles that can go beyond that to the moon or Mars or an asteroid. So that's certainly on the horizons for the young people who are interested in this type of profession.
All right, and you have, this is day 8 with the shuttle Atlantis, and you are scheduled to return to Earth when, next Wednesday? Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be early Thursday morning if my math serves correctly. We work on a little bit of a different time clock up here, but I think it is early Thursday.
All right. Well, congratulations again. We wish you best for the remaining part of your mission, and thanks for everything you do for NASA and for the United States.
Thanks to the crew, and good luck, guys.
Thanks, KYW.
Atlantis ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the KYW radio portion of the event. We will rejoin you after a brief comm drop. Atlantis ISS, this is Houston ACR. We are now back with you. Please stand by for a voice check from Reuters.
Atlantis ISS, this is Irene Klotz with Reuters. How do you hear me?
Hello, Irene. We have you loud and clear on the International Space Station.
Thanks very much. The first 2 questions I have are for you, Commander. When you got jarred awake last night for the computer shutdown, did it take you a few seconds to remember where you are, or does your sleep body stay with you while you, your space body stay with you while you sleep?
Irene, that's an excellent assessment. Just like on Earth, when you wake up or somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, you open your eyes and you wonder where you are. But we had our gyros caged pretty quickly, and the great folks on the ground helped us solve the problem with our general-purpose computer last night.
Thanks. I understand you're going to be speaking with President Obama later today. If he asked you what you think he needs to do to keep the space program relevant in people's lives, what would you tell him and why?
Well, I think probably number one on the list would be the source of inspiration that doing amazing things up in space provides for young men and women. I became involved in the space program because I remember watching Neil Armstrong walk on the moon in 1969, and it was just through following the Apollo program and the Gemini program that I developed just a keen interest in science and math and flight. And it propelled me on a career that took me through naval aviation and then on to the space program. So if for no other reason, we need to inspire generations that will follow us to do wonderful things like this. And plus, we need to explore. We're explorers by nature. We need to leave low Earth orbit again and go back to the moon or an asteroid or Mars. We need to have a destination. It's in our destiny.
Thank you. For Sandy, can you paint us a little word picture of what the ISS looks like with all the stuff you've brought floating around there and the rooting around to find the old equipment to come back home?
Sorry about that, Irene. In a word, it's crowded up here. Almost every module has these white, we call them cargo transfer bags or CTBs. They're stuck with bungees to the front of panels. The PMM, which is the permanent stowage module that was brought up a couple flights ago, if you look in through the hatch, the PMM, all you will see are white bags stuck to walls because there's not enough space for some of the things that we brought up to go behind the racks or behind or inside the stowage areas. So it's sort of a sea of white bags floating around, and we're hoping to help straighten it up a little bit before we leave.
Thank you. For Rex, about a week and a half before you launched, the first module of China's space station reached the launch site. If they're able to get it into orbit and to staff it, don't you think it'd be kind of weird to ignore them in orbit?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think in space is one of the biggest international brotherhoods they have. You know, here we are, a crew of different countries. We have, you know, American astronauts and Russian astronauts and Japanese astronauts. We all work together as one big team. We work together, we solve problems together, we laugh together, we eat together. It is the best example of international cooperation I know of, and it's at the working level, and I think that kind of works its way up to other parts of the country. So China being in space, I think, is a great thing. I think the more nations that get in space, the better cooperation we'll have with each other.
Thank you. For Doug, how comfortable are you that the ISS is going to be the U.S. human spaceflight program for the next decade or so?
Oh, completely. You know, we've got some great folks that work in the International Space Station program, and you know, there's been just extensive planning to get the station in this posture for the next decade. We've got several automated vehicles that can resupply. We've got commercial providers that are going to be coming online in a year or so to provide cargo as well, and eventually crew support, taking us back and forth. So. The ISS is in great hands. It's a great crew on board, and you know, the future couldn't look any brighter.
Thanks. Also for you, I was just wondering if you were surprised that you launched on the first try, considering the weather at KSC and then that last-minute glitch with the O2 vent arm.
Yeah, I had thought I had brought my 127 Karma along with me there for a few, you know, when we walked out and, you know, while we were strapping in, and we were getting updates while we were laying on our backs, and then we got the go, and then the next thing happened at 31 seconds, so I was thinking, oh no. But it just worked out so good. We couldn't be happier. It was great for our family, our friends, and all the guests, and then the, I guess, close to 1 million people that were watching us. So it's always great to launch on the first try, and I'm glad to finally be able to say I did that.
Thanks. And for any of you, have any of you guys run into Robonaut? And if so, what's it doing? Thank you.
We have Robonaut is hiding because of all the company. We brought him in the sea of bags, but he'll probably come out to do some work after we're gone.
Thanks. That's all the time we have. Appreciate your time and safe landings.
Atlantis ISS, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, WPVI TV, KYW Radio, and Reuters. Atlantis ISS, we are now resuming operational audio comm. Great job, guys.